Speaking of love, everyone, this week's show is Kanojo Okarimashu, or Rental Girlfriend, or Rent a Girlfriend. Translations are weird.
This show needs a better title. Or maybe it's me. Because I went into this pitching basically a hate watch to you. Or maybe you pitched it to me. This was supposed
Sometimes
to be a
we
hate watch.
fuse into one mind, and that mind wanted a victim this week.
That mind did want a victim this week. And for the first 6 or 7 minutes of this show, probably not even that much, for the first couple minutes of this show, that was what was watching this episode. That's what we were doing. And then this stupid fucking thing happened that happens sometimes. And it's frustrating at first, but then I learned to be alright with it. Where this show is actually kind of good.
So we got Tai Chi'd. And we got Tai Chi'd in a way that specifically only comedic series can do. Because I was taken from laughing at the show to laughing with it. And I almost resented it when I was in the middle of episode 3. Laughing at something saying, you motherfuckers, you took this from me.
I was supposed to have a hate watch. I was supposed to do that thing on this show where I get really fucking tired with the state of anime in the world, and I'll start talking about it like it was just another thing that failed or was... But no, this was good.
Yeah,
this was just a good show. I'm gonna be a little bit vulnerable here, I guess. Not vulnerable, but, full disclosure. I totally thought that this was going to be full of, pointless, stupid anime bullshit. And it ended up being, a pretty solid, character-driven relationship drama / comedy, whatever, with a,
I believe the term among dipshits is dramedy.
With a pretty compellingly shitty protagonist. I like this kid. He's like if Natsuo. I can't compare him to Natsuo because Natsuo is this unholy fucking demigod.
Natsuo is one of those post-volcanic perforated statues that people stare at museums and look vaguely haunted. And you leave your date at the Met saying, "Hey, are we cursed now?" So that was a fork in the road of the joke.
There was a little bit of a fork in the road. I don't know. I'm thinking about relationships right now because that's what this show is about. Should we get to the premise or am I leaving? I feel like I was setting something up and now I'm kind of leaving it hanging just a little bit. Yes, no. So this protagonist, right?
All right, you found him compellingly shit.
Oh, we were supposed to have the Wikipedia page open.
Oh, I believe he's Kazuya. Let me double check that.
Kazuya, yes, that's completely correct. His name was Kazuya. For the first couple minutes of this viewing, the main joke that I was making was Kazuya!
I don't know what pact you fucking signed to get that pitch.
I can't maintain it for very long, and it's way lower than I used to be able to go.
Oh no! Are we going to break through glass now?
See, it breaks really quickly. I can't do it too many times in a row.
Isn't this how Pokemon lower each other's defense?
I thought that Screech lowered one's special defense. Poke nerds, feel free to correct me.
You were supposed to be Poke nerds.
Nerd. I think it's defense. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Screech lowers defense.
So I was expecting a, I guess, way more stock vein of humor. It's not that it's very inventive humor, but it's just the word workman-like has been used a lot.
The character writing's there.
The character writing is there.
The jokes are funny.
The jokes are funny. In the density of what can be known as anime bullshit, it stops at a hard 7.
No, it stops at the most anime bullshit that we get from this is just a whole bunch of fucking coincidences that you kind of sort of take.
And that's more of an international rom-com problem.
Yeah, it's you meeting this show where it is, and I'm fine, taking all of the coincidences and being like, okay, fine, this happens. Because there's quite a few of them.
They ran a bit far for me, but I wouldn't say that it ruins the show. I just do think that at the launch it's just saying, okay, we're here.
Well, it's part of the formula. You sort of have to, these things are built on, dumb coincidences that get everyone into this mess. And then what gets them out of this mess is, their character development. That's, just how rom-coms work.
And the starting point of this character is Emperor Virgin. And I was really worried that this is going to be, and maybe it partially is, maybe deep into psyche it is, but it's not done in a too cloying way, so I kind of rock with it. But sometimes when I prod at things like, the average romantically oriented isekai, I say, wow, has the standard for like what a personal fantasy is fallen this low? Because in this show, the concept is, it's called Rental Girlfriend. And the inciting event...
No, it's not. It's called Rent a Girlfriend.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's called Kanojo Okarimashu. Whatever the fuck. Rent a girlfriend. He rents a girlfriend. He gets... They're not sugar babies. It's a slightly different social construct, but...
They treat it like it's a thing in real life, which I'm sure it is.
It is. People do it in
that's
Japan
like
and other places.
Japan thing, cool. I think we were mentioning at some point that like, Japan and America should never, ever, ever catch on to one another's weird idiosyncratic customs.
Oh, I believe it would combine into this three-armed demon.
It'd be bad. It'd be real bad.
But the closest thing we have is sugar babies, which is way more of a hooking light scenario than the emotional pull string teddy bear that the rent-a-girlfriend thing is.
It's honestly the first anime I've ever watched that tried to portray sex work in a light that was to put a human face on it, I guess.
I mean, when you pick a concept, we're going to spend that much time with it. You either do that or you're going to start sucking real bad real soon, which I guess is one of 46 things that went wrong with, God, I can't remember the name anymore. Whorehoppers.
Oh, yeah. Interspecies reviewers.
Interspecies reviewers. Ishizoku reviewers. Whatever the fuck you want to call it. This is a better program. Okay, a lot of programs are better programs than that.
Most programs are a better program than interspecies reviewers. And if you think differently, you're a fucking virgin. Fuck you.
Not necessarily a virgin. You could also be a sex criminal. You could have had sex. It retroactively isn't consensual, but let's move forward here.
I can't make a noise that tells you that I'm biting my fist right now.
We go very softly here at Weeaboo Hell. We're very considerate of various creatives and fans' feelings.
It's all about good taste. Good taste and dignity. Always dignity.
But yeah, the inciting incident is essentially this guy washes out with a girl. See what I did? See what I did at the start of the episode? I am fucking hilarious.
We tied this all in. There was seeds early on in the episode, and now we're reaping what we have sown.
And he hires this girl, and I was kind of fucking worried about the show at the outset, to be honest. I think part of it is that it honestly really does just sort of sprint through trying to just put the basic comedic blocks in place, the character blocks, whatever, and that
a lot is asked of you at the outset of the show.
Yeah.
But once you have given it that, the payoff is, I feel, quite worth it. The joke writing on this show, for instance, is pretty up there. It's good. It's real fucking solid. Again, like you were saying, it workmanlike.
Workmanlike. I would say it's spiky implies it gets worse than it does, but it's more... I don't think you so much laugh very consistently throughout Rental Girlfriend as much as it will just spike hard 3 or 4 times.
It will spike hard up there, like real. I remember we had to pause it once or twice.
Yeah, and
because it was really funny.
It's not a 30 Rock in that you will not get a killer every 0.52 seconds, which is kind of how I like to write comedies, but I totally understand there are other methods. So there are some jokes that are a little more stock or fall a little more flat, but I really think that this show, in the aggregate, in its first 4 episodes, we watched 4 so far, is quite fun.
Yeah, I mean, they will do, occasional just dumb little anime gags that kind of have to be there just because they do. But then you'll get this great fucking gag, like... Alright, so a little bit of context. The show starts out with him being dumped by Kazuya as the character. Kazuya is the name of the main character.
I love life.
He gets dumped by his girlfriend, Mami. there's no comfortable way for me to pronounce her name, Mami.
I prefer Mammy, but that's because I don't have the black thing hovering over me.
I'm not gonna pronounce it like that. And Mami sounds weird because I'm not Puerto Rican. So
do you want to go with MM? Is she mother's milk?
No, I'm just gonna say Mommy, and I'm just gonna feel kind of fucking weird about it.
That's cool. She's kind of a weird character anyway.
She's
intentionally.
Intentionally.
Whoa, that's some different shit, huh?
Anyway, Mommy dumps him at the outset of this series, like two or 3 seconds into this fucking thing. In his post-breakup depression, sees fit to hire a rental girlfriend, which is not quite a prostitute sex work. It's different. It's like it's
you basically pay them to act out all the emotional shit, run on proto dates with you. I'm sure in the thrust of them there are people who do that, but the social construct itself seems to more be the incredibly sad experience of having someone walk around than to be attracted to it.
It's like they're not a sex worker, they're a romance worker, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
like that is the labor that they're doing. Right. So he Wikipedia
probably
page,
still
please.
need to carry
Wikipedia
mace.
Page, please. Wikipedia page, please.
Oh, you mean Chizahara?
Chizahara. There we go. So he ends up hiring this.
I'm sorry, Chizuru Mizuhara.
Chizuru Mizuhara. Man, that's more name than we usually get on this show.
Right?
He ends up hiring her as his rental girlfriend. They go on a, pretty standard generic date.
It's an aquarium, which seems to be way more of a thing in anime.
I like aquariums. Baltimore has this cool one.
No, going to aquariums is normal. I'm talking like the aquarium date.
Oh, yeah, I've never gone on an aquarium date. We want to because there's seals there, and seals are great. But, A, the Coney Island Aquarium is like, there's an outdoor portion, and it's starting to get a little bit colder, and B, crowds.
I see, man. I should go to the zoo before winter kicks in. But yeah, aquarium date, and then there's a second go-around. And then the 4chan part of his psyche starts kicking in.
Oh, man,
And not in an unaware or unquestioned way of the show's part. Like, he is having a verge out.
Yeah, he's doing the fucking crying Wojak thing. Yeah.
And he's starting to go on these little rants during a date, like, how could you sell your emotions this way?
And she rightly dresses him down for it, once they find a quiet place to speak. And that was basically what I was waiting for in this episode. It wasn't at all surprising that she is much less that she's much more
less
human.
Stepford.
Well, yeah, that she is much more human in her actual personality than she let on during these essentially fake dates.
I mean, I think 3 people have been born in history who had a Stepford wife personality hiding under there, and I think 2 of them were murdered by serial killers who saw an opportunity.
Good lord.
I'm really going for it today.
I feel we're spending more time on the premise here than we usually do. The point being, at one point, the 2 of them, shenanigans ensue. They need to keep pretending to be a couple because they were witnessed by people from their personal lives being a couple, even though they weren't.
There's a whole big thrust in. I don't know if it's gonna be the entire show, but at least in this opening arc, there's a lot about the dumb shit people do for social proof.
Yes, and pride and shame. Just motivating people to do the things that they do. Pride
and shame, wanting a hot girlfriend the way one wants a car that can achieve a certain speed in under 30 seconds.
Yes. Anyway, the 2 of them end up at a mixer together, which is this thing that I guess happens in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember going to any. I mean, there are college parties. Certainly, they're all college students.
I know adults in America do similar things, but it's not a teenage thing.
Oh, they call them cocktail parties.
They call them cocktail parties. There are speed dating things that are like death that I have seen people go into of smiles and come out of changed.
They never sounded like too much fun, I gotta tell you.
I'm kind of impressed by the premise, and I do want to meet the men or women who their sense of personal branding is sharp enough that they can just fire off a 40-second summary of themselves, say, you want this, all this, and it works out for them.
I just don't know what I would spend that 40 seconds doing. Now that I'm thinking about it,
You're the more verbose of the two of us, so I can imagine that being a real challenge. And even though I'm relatively pithy and laconic, I think that my poisonous sense of irony would lead to me spending at least 30 seconds of the thing fucking around.
I think I'd be bitching about the Wilpons and see who bit. Because, like, there's gotta be...
Wait, they have to be into the Mets?
I don't know, that's what I'd think of. It's like, it's a starting point, if nothing else. Anyway,
you're gonna meet an alcoholic who's super into the fucking Mets, and that's just gonna be fine for you during the speed dating thing. Is what I'm getting from this.
I was trying to build up. We were trying to work our way to the gag that sold me on this show. It's been 20 minutes.
We're having fun. We're having fun.
So what sold me on this show, because I was like, oh, this is a little bit more clever than I was expecting, but I still wasn't into it yet. What sold me on this show is when his ex shows up at this mixer, to his surprise and not disgust, horror. To his surprise and horror.
Mm-hmm.
And about a half an hour or so into said mixer, she starts airing his fucking dirty laundry about their relationship in like a really big TMI way. And then there's this great little bit where it cuts to her drink. And it's being empty. And I fucking lose it. And that's when I decided that this was a good show and that I was going to keep watching this show. Just ability to construct a gag like that.
I am a stubborn fuck.
Mm-hmm.
I knew inside that I was warming up during that whole party scene. But the moment where I surrendered was the Peep Show Beach. Now, I don't know how many of you know what Peep Show was. This was a British sitcom that, in theory, is about two young guys in a city, but it's really about self-inflicted emotional pain.
Oh my god.
Everything that has called itself a cringe comedy after Peep Show is lying to you.
Is a fucking liar and a pretender to the throne.
And there is a gag in the 3rd or 4th episode of this program. I don't know if it'll top it. Maybe it will. Maybe it just seems to be part of the formula.
Mm-hmm.
That just reminded me of Spies. Because some spies in mass media had a suicide tooth. And if I was him in this scene, I would have just
broken the fucking suicide tooth, yeah.
My teeth would be digging into my jaw.
In brief, to curry favor with his ex, who he's now deciding that he's trying to impress and win back, he openly announces to her, all his friends, and his, supposed girlfriend, that they were considering breaking up, and then he kind of, eyes his ex a little bit to see her fucking response to this. We had to pause a little bit because this scene caused us physical pain.
Dude, it was the Peep Show barbecue all over again.
I don't use this word because it's not a great word and I don't like using it, but I'm pretty sure I paused the series, I paused the show, paused the episode, and yelled pussy at it. Remember, I did do that. I can't remember if it was that moment or another one. I'm thinking it was that one.
I think we started out with adjective plus simp, like hyper simp, omega simp, during the restaurant.
The fucking Squirrels in My Pants song from Phineas and Ferb as this fucking thing went on.
That beat was the fucking melody, bass, and percussion of this show.
I think when the term simp first became just a thing in the public lexicon, I was wondering, what the fuck is a simp? And then Morgan was like, remember Mordecai from Regular Show? That's a simp. That's a simp right there.
That was their
and now we have an even better example. Kazuya.
Damn it. Why is it this easy? I thought I was an adult. I thought things had to have setups and punchlines to make me laugh.
They did, and now they're doing it again just because you know what the reference is to. I don't know. It's a really funny delivery.
Fair enough.
A lot of what works about Konosuba is very, very simple. It's just a fucking just like blue-haired girl who's drawn like a regular Bishojo, except no, she has absolutely no dignity and is screaming.
It's pretty great.
It's just like it's simple.
So when it comes
It's
to
like
this
dunking
Kazuya,
a cat in water.
when it comes to this Kazuya in fucking Rental Girlfriend,
Rent a girlfriend.
in fucking Rent a Girlfriend.
See, was that hard?
Yes. So when it comes to this Kazuya, it taught me something.
Kazuya!
It taught me that inside of every man,
Mm-hmm.
there are two primordial forces. One is Kazuya, and the other is Future. And until you find a balance between these two, you will never have a healthy dating interaction.
Okay, so for those of us who were avoiding pop music like the plague when Future was big, explain what you mean by Future being the equal and opposite of Kazuya.
Future is simply the rapper who introduced the line/concept, "She belongs to the streets." Which, you know, is a mentality. It certainly is an option for walking around the world. But it doesn't necessarily come recommended.
I think I was saying something earlier about how there's something compelling about how shitty about how shitty Kazuya is. It has to do with this complete lack of self-respect he seems to have. And obviously, there's something that I find relatable about him. I'm looking for what it is. I think it's I think that they do something really kind of relatable in so far as just being at such a fucking low point in your life that you start doing things that you'd never even consider doing had you an ounce of self-worth in you, but you don't have any self-worth right now because like that has been taken from you.
Taken, but you've also given it away.
And you're aware of the fact that you've given it away.
He reminds me, and you have to switch the vice.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy listens to the other primordial force.
Mm-hmm.
But if you switch the vice, he reminds me of Riley Freeman. Like, Riley wants to be that dude, and he will just continually and obviously ruin his life and day in the attempt to be that dude.
I'm trying to honestly figure out what specifically motivates this guy. What specifically motivates Kazuya? It's
the intersection of loneliness, status, and
there's some amount of
trolling
lust
for Jine.
You know, that's the thing. There seems to be some amount of lust present in this, but less than you would think. It has less
It's
to do
definitely a composite.
It has less to do with animal lust, his motivation, and more to do with what he thinks he wants. It's good. No, this is really it's good character writing. Is what I'm kind of getting at, because there's a big, you know, like, you know, when you read about, you know, screenplays and stories and how to write, you know, either of them, you know, there's this idea of the lie that this character believes, right? And he believes one or two of them, honestly. And you know, acts in accordance with, you know, I need to fulfill this thing because this will finally make me happy, right? And as low as he sinks, right? As simpy as he fucking gets, that is identifiable and interesting about him as a character.
I was pleasantly surprised by, I guess, the creator's attitude towards the character and his behavior. In my perfect comedic world, I think I would have taken all of them to the moral abyss, but what he does is good too, in that he is sympathetic to the guy's virtues, but he's really just hammering, this is fucking sad. Look at this. Why?
I think if we taken them to the moral abyss, this would be more of a Punch and Judy thing, which, not that I have any issues with a Punch and Judy. I mean, that's what fucking Prison School was, ultimately. But this isn't Prison School, and I do not think that it necessarily should be.
Yeah, I can appreciate the range of things in the world. Not everything has to be attuned to my specific and warped, and I'm just going to get those fucking theater letters, aren't whatever. My specific and warped sense of humor. I feel like there was a third linchpin Oh my god, I don't know how I even talked about this. There's this whole sick grandma plotline. I'm not gonna explain the plotline. What's important is that his grandma's sick, but she is fucking hilarious.
She's really great. I don't know exactly what it is. It's very much a je ne sais quoi that she has. She just has such a fucking psychological lock on him and seemingly his entire family.
There was this weird dual blind thing with her where she totally just gets his whole thing, but also will just believe the bullshit he tells her because she wants to fucking believe.
She wants it to be true.
She wants to believe that he will have sex before he is 30.
I like how they don't tell you that he's still a virgin outright.
They sort of do.
But you know.
The heart, it knows.
But do they?
Well, his friends call him virgin all the time. Like,
but that has nothing to do with anything. Like, I'll call you a virgin right now.
Whatever, virgin.
Fucking virgin. See, it doesn't actually necessarily mean anything.
Virgosoid. Okay. Virginian.
Virgosaur. Virgzard. Virgstois. Virgachew. Oh, I kind of like Virgachew.
If you walked into one of these mixers and one of your, I don't know, top 2 exes was sitting in that mommy seat, what do you do?
I thought we agreed that we wouldn't do this bit. No, I don't have a funny response for you. I'd fucking leave. I'd get the fuck out of there like a coward. If there were an available window, yeah, that would be my method of egress there.
Goddamn, fucking Dark Knight Returns Batman here just makes for the window, huh?
And if there was no window, then yeah, the wall would suffice. Most buildings built after, 1950, give or take, are made of shitty drywall anyway. It wouldn't hurt that bad.
Oh man, I'm really fucking imagining just the fucking You Say Run thing playing.
And it would hurt. It wouldn't hurt that bad, but it'd hurt. But I'd be gone now. I'd be gone. I'd be through the wall.
Oh man, because I have some interesting fucking options for
you've got
who would be sitting there.
Dozens of more options. Am I exaggerating right now? I
honestly I know. I thought you were telling a fucking joke, so it kind of works anyway.
Okay, all right. So I'll
no one cares the actual number of people.
Which is...
Alright, you see now, this is a podcast, so it's going to sound like I'm either talking myself or putting myself down. So there is no winning number here. What's important is that I am really attractive for the first month. And then things start going awry.
You gave me like a politician's answer just now. Or I ask you a yes or no question, and then you'll start providing context or something.
Well, look, what's important to understand is that we can't let extremism impact how we evaluate our ex-girlfriend statistics.
I got out dental floss just now. I don't really know why.
I thought you were gonna fucking grope me or some shit with that. I was thinking, man, was I that bad with that question?
No, I just... There was some dental floss, and I got it. Go ahead.
The reason that question interests me is that I'm only really interested in the answer to one of them, which was the whole wild 2-year sort of a weird green card kind of scenario. Did I just confess to a felony on a podcast? I might censor that. Or am I leaving it up? What the fuck's going to happen?
Well, not that green card.
She'll figure her own shit out. I mean, she won't, but I'm not running an agency here. But I think what I would do, I think I would just sit in that chair because I would need to know what happened next. And I think that's what draws me to this show, because I just need to see that depths moment. It doesn't matter if it's me, if it's someone else. I just want
preferably someone else.
I want that memory in my banks. And that is what makes us stronger.
No, man, that's what keeps us up at night. I have a pretty exhausting job. I need to have like a decent night's sleep. I don't need that shit on my fucking...
Okay, maybe Came Back Haunted starts looping in your brain. That's very possible too.
See, if I throw myself through the wall, there's a chance that I hit my head really hard. I pass out. My memories of the entire night are kind of fuzzy. You know, and people tell me, yeah, your ex was at that party, and then you threw yourself through the wall, and then I'll say, yep, sounds like that party went about as well as it could have.
Let me tell you the path of emperors. You take that seat.
You're about to be wrong.
You take that seat right in front of them.
Mm-hmm. Still wrong.
You make eye contact with their best friend and them. And with the most pleasant smile you can manage. How have you been? I work at X now. We are going to mechanically walk through every phase of this conversation until one of us kills ourselves. And I know just enough of your psychological profile where I am 75% sure it's going to be you. Why do I bring this up?
That's not the same number that I came up with, but go on.
Because I had that happen at a reading. And I shuffled my papers and waited in line, right in sequence before them alphabetically. And people did not know why I was laughing at my own dramatic story.
Was there some payoff beyond just the emotional catharsis, or?
Her mom was there, which is weird because her mom lives in India. And I'm there staring at my ex-girlfriend / technically legally ex-wife's mom. And it starts off of her trying to hold the dagger stare. And then I sort of go from like sweeping across the audience to just seeing what happens if I sort of lock the look in on her mom. And her mom cracks first.
What were you reading?
What was I reading? Oh my god, this was relatively old. Oh, it's that story I was in that science fiction contest for.
What, the one about the
Liberty
robot?
Points.
Okay, Liberty Points, okay.
No, not the one that we wrote together about the sex robot. In which, by the way, can you tell that we were reading fucking Prison School when that came out?
There will be a Purgatorio where I do a dramatic reading of that short story.
Please.
I'm seeding that episode now.
Please.
It has nothing to do with anime, but I think you should just...
I think the level of just sexual offness within that creative work, you can at least claim was influenced by our anime industry.
I borrowed from anime when I was contributing to this.
I think there's a Prison School thing behind the uncomfortable sex in that thing. Alright, I'm gonna take us back to fucking girlfriend. Rent girlfriend.
No, Steve, the joke only works if you get it wrong every time and I correct you every time.
Jesus Christ. But yes, the grandma in this is a revelation.
It's like not Abbott and Costello, but...
I really appreciated that mommy has... She is about 60% of a Bunny Boiler personality.
It's great. She's this really realistically written bad person. And you become more and more aware of how much of a bad person she is just as this goes on. Because again, there's verisimilitude to her character. Like, you know people like her. And the more you get to know her, you're like, oh yeah, I do know people like you.
Mm.
I try to stay the fuck away from them.
Mommy is a species.
That still sounds fucking weird.
I think that's how you actually do it, though. I think it's mommy.
No, it is mommy. Again, there's like... I don't know, it's like if a character were named Daddy. It's the same fucking thing.
I don't know, man.
I don't feel great, like, saying that.
I don't know, man. Mine's dead. What am I implying? That I dig her up? It's... Oh, Jesus. Okay.
You made the fucking joke. I did.
Oh, God.
This is like no. I'm leaving you in this place now.
Hey everyone, welcome to Cumtown / Red Scare featuring Dennard, Dayle and Sam, Lagow.
Anyway,
so you read some of the manga.
A little bit of it, yeah.
Does it keep the balancing act going?
New stuff is added in to shake things up. I think they don't waifu gallery it at all, but they do introduce some characters that I feel don't necessarily need to be there as much, or seem to be there like in a way that...
You make it sound like it's a harem but not a waifu gallery, which is a distinction that tells me I've been watching anime for way too long.
No, the fact that there is a distinction, it's not my fucking fault. It is the world that has gone mad, not I.
I see you're back to your Dark Knight Returns Batman ways again. You've got to imagine someone with just sort of scraggly long hair making that sort of bicep folded karate chop forward pose jumping from the second story of a building in Brooklyn.
And he's about to fucking break his legs on the way down because he's not fucking Batman. He's just a fucking grumpy fucking anime hipster.
Sometimes I think about that, how our claims to fame are basically sci-fi writer, because we've done that, and anime hipster, because we've done this.
It's not a waifu gallery. It's just like there are a couple of girls for you, right? And I've read whatever too much truest anime manga. I have consumed too much of it. I've become too cynical, where after a certain point in a series where all of the beats that are there, are already there, right? We really just need those characters at that point, and then they add another character design. Sorry, another character, but really, another character design. I see less the character, right? I see less her, wants, needs as a person, so much as a kind of like a line of code. If that makes any sense.
Dude, you can totally see the puppet strings leading to an editorial meeting.
Like a puppet strings, or just, the target demographic. Like, again, it's, oh, I remember. Remember The Matrix when, the dude at the console, right? It was a different one in every movie, I'm pretty sure. He's talking to the dude at the console, about, like, so how do you interpret all of those green lines? And he's like, oh no, it's just like once you get good enough at it, like see that one, that's a redhead, that one, that's a brunette. It's basically the inverse of that. When you were presented with, waifu gallery characters.
The world is just rendered in those green lines. I definitely can feel that. And I'm glad that at least thus far in the limited range I've gone through with this program, I haven't read ahead in the comic because I had terrible ads to write this week and I sold one. I know what's in it. Mm-hmm. And I'm sorry.
It's making the world a worse place. I mean,
I'm really sorry.
That is the fucking
somewhere out there
of your profession.
In Brooklyn, two guys are hosting advertising hell, and they're saying, "What kind of worthless fuck wrote this? This is not someone listening to his inner future."